If you're a long-time resident of Glasgow, what profession are you thinking of when you see this sign? But do you know about the marches, the murder case, and the world's most glamorous motor race? If not, you're about to find out on this episode of Astonishing Glasgow. The Blythswood Square that exists today was built on top of Blythswood Hill between 1819 and 1820. The Georgian terraces that form the square were designed by James Gillespie Graham for William Harley, who owned all the land around here as well as Blythswood Hill and Garnet Hill nearby. This was part of his Willowbank estate with its mansion and pleasure gardens overlooking the Clyde, which is down there somewhere behind those buildings. William Harley is another Glasgow merchant, much like David Dale from my earlier episodes, who has been largely forgotten, but left an incredible mark physically in Glasgow, but also went out of his way to improve the lives of Glasgow residents. From springs on his lands, he pumped water to a reservoir on the corner of Bath Street and West Nile Street, right here. He sold it to homeowners and delivered it twice a day by horse and cart to their houses. Once the Glasgow Water Works Company opened, however, and supplied water directly to people's homes through pipes, Harley's business dried up. So he used the water supply to open the first public indoor baths in Scotland. And this is how Bath Street got its name. His influence didn't end there. Customers using his brand new baths requested milk to drink, so Harley used the cows from his Willowbank estate and Sight Hill estate and established Europe's very first hygienic dairy right next to the baths, which were also known as Harley's Byres. In 1829, he was invited by the Tsar of Russia to manage and improve the new Imperial Dairy in St. Petersburg, but took ill while travelling. He died in London the same year and was buried in the Spa Fields graveyard. There is a memorial plaque to William Harley at the corner of Bath Street and Renfield Street, right on the site of his first baths and his first dairy, but you'd probably walk right past it and never know it was there. Another bit of Astonishing Glasgow's history that is hiding in plain sight. Plenty more to come in this video, but a quick pause to ask you all to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button to get notified when I upload a new video, and hit that super thanks button if you would like to make a small donation. It really helps me to make more videos about Astonishing Glasgow, and everything is appreciated. Back to the square. And this is number 5. In 1895, this became the home of the Lady Artists Club, which was the first Lady Artists Club in Britain when it opened in 1882. When they moved into number 5 Blythswood Square, this townhouse became the first residential artists club for women in Britain. If the front door looks extremely fancy, that's because in 1907 a decoration committee commissioned one Charles Rennie Mackintosh to carry out work inside the building and to install the new black neoclassical front door. The townhouse was sold to the Scottish Arts Council in 1971 after the Glasgow Society of Lady Artists was disbanded due to financial pressures, and looks very empty on my visit in February 2023. The group was revived in 1975, becoming the Glasgow Society of Women Artists, and has around 200 members now, with an annual exhibition held in and around the city. Part of the aim for the society was to give female artists a place to live and work without being judged. Something that a resident in the next door townhouse was unable to avoid. Madeleine Smith was born in 1835. In 1855, her family moved to number 7 Blythswood Square. By 20 years old, she was considered a Glasgow socialite, but would break the strict Victorian conventions of the time when she started a secret affair with Pierre-Emile Longuelier, who was 10 years her senior. The pair would meet late at night at Madeleine's bedroom window and shared many letters. Things got more serious when Madeleine lost her virginity to Pierre, but as their affair was secret, her parents had found her a more suitable upper-class fiancé in William Harper Minnoch. She broke off the affair with Pierre in February 1857 and asked for him to return the letters, but Pierre, believing that she had agreed to marry him, refused and threatened to make the affair and the letters public. On the 23rd of March 1857, Pierre was found dead, with arsenic poisoning being the cause. On searching his room, the police found the letters and Madeleine was suspect number 1. When a witness told police that Madeleine had been seen buying arsenic at a local druggist, she was arrested and charged with his murder. When the case reached the court, her private letters were read out loud and the scandal hit the papers. In court, however, the druggist testified that his arsenic was coloured to prevent accidental poisoning, and as Pierre's post-mortem showed no sign of the coloured arsenic, Madeleine's case grew stronger. By the time Pierre's valet testified that he was contemplating suicide at the time of his death, and the only evidence against Madeleine being circumstantial, the jury was sent out to deliberate. Upon their return, they would pass the verdict of not proven. Madeleine had been dragged through the court of law and shamed by the court of public opinion. The scandal was so huge that it went on to inspire many films, plays and TV shows. The first being the David Lean film Madeleine in 1950.
In this great city of Glasgow, there is a square, Blythswood Square. Number 7, which still remains, was the home of Madeleine Smith. Her strange romantic story has survived the elegance of the house she lived in.
The 1961 book, Square Mile of Murder by Jack House, was the basis of the BBC television play called Killer in Close Up, The Madeleine Smith Case. Madeleine's likeness was even featured in the Chamber of Horrors section of the Edinburgh Waxwork Museum until 1989. She and her family left Glasgow after the trial. Pierre is buried in the Ramshorn Kirk, which you can see in another of my videos. I will leave the link at the end of this one. Madeleine died on April the 28th, 1928, aged 93, and was buried in Mount Hope Cemetery, New York State, under her assumed name of Lena Sheeny. Though it is said that her spirit still roams the rooms of number 7 Blythswood Square. So if you see a figure at the window, you know who it is. If we keep going clockwise around the square, the next terrace block did start as a row of townhouses, but by the 1900s, more and more of the homes on the square were being bought and turned into offices and clubs. The entire eastern side of the square was bought up by the Royal Scottish Automobile Club, and the architect James Miller was commissioned to remodel the terrace to be used as the club's headquarters. Rebuilding was completed by 1926, and the club could get on with its mission of promoting automobilism in Scotland in an elegant and comfortable venue. In 1949, the road in front of the clubhouse became an official start line for the prestigious Monte Carlo rally, which saw cars head off from Glasgow for the 1,600-mile trip to the French Riviera. The race was started here until 1973, and it looked like that was the end of motorsport for Blythswood Square, but in 2011, the roar of engines and the smell of 4-star would return, and I was there to watch it all. I didn't take a lot of video on that night. The camera I had at the time was better suited to stills, so hopefully the photos convey just how exciting the night was, and just how much the City Council's Health and Safety Department hadn't expected it to be such a big crowd. There was a Scottish start to the rally for the next 10 years, moving between Glasgow, Paisley and Clydebank, with the final start from George Square in February 2020. We all know what happened in the world shortly after this, so the Monte Carlo has yet to return to Scotland. As for the Royal Scottish Automobile Club, it continued to meet on Blythswood Square, but by 2001 membership had dropped to around 1,200 members, and by 2002 it was forced to close due to financial pressures. After lying empty for a number of years, the East Terrace was converted into a luxury hotel, and this is where I get one of my favourite bits of Glasgow treasure. Sitting above my desk as I make my Astonishing Glasgow videos, this fantastic two-sided crest that was rescued from a skip during the building works. 5 or 6 years ago I was given this by a customer on my postman route who was an executive during the conversion to a hotel. He kept a crest for himself, and inside his garage the walls are lined with teak boards that were at one point the squash court inside the clubhouse. The poshest garage I have ever seen. But not quite as posh as the hotel. It is now a 113 room 5-star hotel and spa complex, and not the sort of place where yours truly could slip in unnoticed for a look. Maybe if I win the lottery I can book a night in a suite and get them to valet park my bike. One thing is for sure, the men who gathered here on the square on the 23rd of January 1929 wouldn't be looking for a room in the hotel either. On that bitterly cold January morning, the first contingent of the National Unemployed Workers Movement assembled here and started their long hunger march to London to fight for state financial support for workers and their families who found themselves destitute after losing their jobs. The march was joined by other contingents on the way south, and by the time they reached London, they were being welcomed by a crowd of 100,000 people when they entered Hyde Park, and it all started right here. So there you go, more proof that history is round every corner in Astonishing Glasgow. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to check out my other episodes and hit that like and subscribe button. If you'd like to help me make more of these videos, please hit the super thanks button to make a small donation. It's very much appreciated, and here are those who donated after the last video. Hang around for links to more videos that you may enjoy, and thank you very much for watching. See you next time in Astonishing Glasgow. Right, here are some of those links I was telling you about. Don't forget, there are 40 more videos on my channel. Go and check them out. And if you want to get in touch, you'll find Astonishing Glasgow on Facebook and Instagram. I'm away for a roll and square sausage. I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.